Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. I was on a mini vacation last week when the Biden Titanic sunk, or the Biden cognitive hardware melted down. So this is my first chance to respond. Way too many moving parts with the Democratic Party's behind the scenes meltdown, senators, journalists, lobbyists, all privately saying, jump, jump, abort. But, being too spineless to publicly call for Biden to drop out, of course. But I wanted to get to what I think is the biggest scandal of all of this, and that is the complete and utter lies and gaslighting coming from the mainstream media to pretend we didn't know. This is all a shock to us. We've never seen the president like that. Why weren't we told? Oh, they knew. They knew well over 4 years ago. Let's start with Biden's best friends at Morning Joe this morning.
90 minutes, starting at 9 p.m., Joe Biden was fresh off back-to-back trips to Europe, first to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day and a state dinner with President Macron, and then to Italy for the G7, followed by a flight across 12 time zones to L.A. for a fundraiser with former President Barack Obama. Just 33 hours later, he was headed back to the East Coast. The debate was also 2 weeks after his son Hunter was convicted on 3 felony gun charges and faces prison time. President Biden painfully told America he would not pardon his son. I really question his schedule. It makes me angry that he was moving across the world on 4 different time zones. It seems to me this is a lack of discipline. These were important events that he was going to, but the stakes in this election could not be any higher. Like many, I want to know, was this a one-off episode or a sign of what's to come?
Was this a one-off episode? I want to know, because I've never seen this before. Morning Mika, her husband Joe, was not on the show today. Joe Scarborough, infamously, who every morning slobbers over Joe Biden, has had calls with Joe Biden. The media has reported that they talk often. She's blaming it on his schedule, and I'm angry that the president of the United States was traveling across 4 continents, which is kind of expected if you're going to be the president of the United States. Well, if Morning Mika and the rest of the media who are lying that this is all shocking to them, if they want to know if this is a one-off, we actually have a historical record. By the way, let me spill some tea here, because I have been on the ground for 2 presidential elections, and I covered the 2020 campaign, and I heard with my own ears, eavesdropping, sitting at hotel bars, mainstream media journalists openly saying this guy's got Alzheimer's, openly saying this guy's got dementia. That wasn't me saying it, even though I agreed. I heard journalists who are right now acting shocked at bars, not publicly, not on the record, talking amongst themselves, debating what he has, while then hiding that from you, hiding the fact that the mainstream media was seeing evidence of sharp cognitive decline for a guy who right now has his finger on the nuclear button and is in control when we have multiple geopolitical hot zones with nuclear powers. But if Mika wants to know, is this a one-off? Let me take you back through a little history, and you could see for yourself if this was a one-off. And again, they all saw all of this, but didn't report it and just pretended it was all gaffes. Here's Biden, 2020. Let's see what he had to say here.
You want to nominate a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, a proud Democrat, an Biden-Obama Democrat.
Yeah, one off. You want to elect an Biden-Obama Democrat. They saw it. They just closed their eyes, counted to 10, pretended it wasn't there. This is the media right now gaslighting you that they're shocked. They never saw the signs. Here's Biden also running for president in 2020, not remembering what president he served for.
Because they invaded another country and annexed a significant portion of it called Crimea. Right. He's saying that it was my boss, it was his fault.
My boss. My boss. Again, this is not to shame or, poke fun at the elderly, those who have serious issues that come with age. You don't even have to have Alzheimer's or dementia to forget things. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing him. But when we were constantly told, oh, this is a stutter. I had a very mild stutter as a kid. I know people who had more problems with stuttering. Stuttering is a serious thing. In most cases, you get speech pathology and extra help for it. But a stutter will not make you just completely lose your train of thought or completely fail to remember where you are, which presidents you served with, etc. It might make you stumble on your words, but not forget locations or people. He's forgetting key parts of his life and political record. You didn't hear anything about it. You didn't even see these clips. If you are an MSNBC viewer watching right now, or you're a neoliberal, Biden bro, some of the things I'm showing you might be completely being shown to you for the first time because the mainstream media literally hid all of this so that a progressive would not become president. Bernie Sanders, in this case. And I'm not trying to, reopen wounds and all that business, but they hid all this from you, not to beat Donald Trump, but to beat Bernie Sanders. Here's Biden during the 2020 campaign, seemingly forgetting what office he's running for.
You're the ones that sent Bill Clinton to the presidency, and you're the ones that sent Barack Obama to the presidency. And I have a simple proposition here. I'm here to ask you for your help. Where I come from, you don't get far unless you ask. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other guy. Give me a look, though, okay?
2020, I'm a candidate for the U.S. Senate. Oh, Jordan, that's a common slip-up. He was in the Senate for 50 years. He just kind of, relapsed there. Well, I wonder what they would have said if it was Bernie Sanders out there saying I'm a candidate for U.S. Senate. You think it would have been all over Morning Joe? You think cable news might have picked it up? New York Times, maybe? I think so. Here's, again, there's a long list of them. This is only a few. Here's him again, 2020.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. Mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Stutter? Completely losing his train of thought? Incoherent? And by the way, all of this was under the gaslighting that the most important thing is beating Donald Trump and who's electable. But it was very clear this man was not the most electable. He happened to win mostly because Donald Trump was a disaster, absolute disaster in terms of COVID. That's why Biden won. And he didn't even win by that much. If you look at the Electoral College, he barely won. Barely won in 2020. In Wisconsin, didn't win by a massive amount in Pennsylvania, won by a decent amount in Michigan, barely won Georgia, barely won Arizona. All of these right now, he's losing in most polls. He was not the most electable, and he sure as hell ain't the most electable now. Here's another doozy. This was from 1 month ago.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to.
The only problem being that he left office in 2017 as vice president and the pandemic began in 2020. Again, not a stutter. This is cognitive decline, or however you want to diagnose it. No shame in it. I don't agree with the man politically. I think he's a warmonger. I think he's a war criminal. But I'm not, hoping people get sick as they get old or mentally unfit. But There were clear signs all over the place. I heard journalists joking about it on the campaign trail, but they wouldn't dare report it. Just like Morning Joe saw it, but wouldn't dare speak up about it for fear of losing their invitations to the constant and ever revolving cocktail parties and DNC Christmas party. Here's a couple months ago. He confused the president of Egypt and Mexico while giving a press conference to kind of show that he was cognitively there. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up.
The conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. I think that, as you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate.
That would be the president of Egypt opening the gate. If this was a once in a blue moon issue, you know, you forget names, you conflate countries, so be it. But this has been going on for years. And why it matters for any of you who have had loved ones, tragically dealt with Alzheimer's, dementia, or other cognitive issues, sometimes it progresses slowly and then very rapidly. So even though it might look like it's been progressing slowly, and at certain points, like he did a rally in North Carolina on a teleprompter where he was more robust and cognitively there. Once the decline, whatever it is, accelerates, there is no masking it. It doesn't matter if it's 10 a.m. in the morning. It doesn't matter if it's 4 p.m. In the afternoon. It doesn't matter what part of the day it is. You're going to be compromised and not able to function. And this should concern you too. Again, why was this being just reported now? This is from Axios. Why are we just hearing about this now? Apparently, Biden's window of operations is 6 hours a day, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is where the president is most active. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Biden is dependently engaged, and many of his public events in front of cameras are held within those hours. Outside of that time range or while traveling abroad, Biden is more likely to have verbal miscues and become fatigued. These are not verbal miscues. This is not fatigue. This is cognitive decline. We should stop gaslighting the American people. And you should stop hiding this if you are a journalist for fear of losing access to the White House. Your job is to report the truth, not suck the cocks of the Beltway. Excuse my French, ladies and gentlemen. So whenever you see, and there will be more panic because this will not be the last gaffe. Biden is probably going to do more public appearances to now prove that he is not declining and cognitively gone. And unsurprisingly, there will be more slip-ups and frozen face syndrome and losing his train of thought. And all of these pretend journalists knew about it for years and are lying as they feign ignorance and shock now.